What do you think is one of the biggest reasons why people don't change? There's multiple answers you may come up with. There's several even I could think of. Maybe they don't realize they need to change. Maybe they don't realize that what they're doing is not right. Maybe they don't realize that there's a better way. But today I want to highlight something that I think more often than not, maybe one of the main reasons that we don't change and do the things that we need to do, and that is pride. You see, to change is to admit that we might not have been doing what we should have been doing. Or it's to admit that we might have been doing something wrong. Or it's to admit that there was a better way and we were doing it a different way that wasn't as good, and we don't want to admit to that. Sometimes we're stubborn. We're going to keep doing what we're doing because. Because of why? Just because. Because we're not going to change. Well, what about our spiritual lives when we approach things in that way? The reality is we're to be more like Christ every day, and that involves some kind of change. Sometimes it's small changes. Sometimes it's little things, barely even noticeable. Sometimes it's a large change that is very noticeable, big things. The question becomes, will we let our pride get in the way of us making the changes that we need to make in our life to be more like Christ, or will we humble ourselves? Great example of humility is found in Philippians chapter 2, beginning in verse 5. It says, "Have this attitude in yourselves, which is also in Christ Jesus, who, although he existed in the form of God, did not regard equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking the form of a bondservant, and being made in the likeness of men. Being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross." You think about what Christ went through, the ridicule, the pain, the mockery of everything that he encountered. But yet he willingly did that, not for himself, but for us, so that we would have the opportunity to come to a relationship with the Father through him, so that we would have the opportunity to change. He humbled himself. Well, the reality is, before there's going to be any substantial change that takes place in our life, we have to humble ourselves. We have to humble ourselves at the feet of Jesus. We have to realize that without him, we can't do anything of value. And without him, we can't have a relationship with God. Folks, if our lives continue to stay full of pride and arrogance, we'll not make the changes that we need to make to be in the right relationship with God. I pray that we'll all humble ourselves and make the changes that are necessary and come to that right relationship with God. I thank you for taking the time to join me today. I pray that you have a good day, and I pray that God will be glorified in all that you do.